World War I, the Great War, a conflict so devastating it scarred the globe. It reshaped maps and shattered empires. Understanding how this catastrophe began is crucial. This war was a tragedy for millions. The war started in 1914. It engulfed Europe in a fiery battle. For years, simmering tensions had been building. These tensions finally erupted, plunging the world into chaos. This essay will delve into the events that led to World War I.
At the dawn of the 20th century, Europe exuded an air of confidence. The continent was a tapestry of empires and kingdoms. Industrial advancements and technological innovations were rapidly transforming societies. Yet, beneath this veneer of progress, a dangerous current of nationalism, imperialism, and military buildup was gaining momentum. Nationalism, a potent force, was sweeping across Europe. People felt a strong sense of loyalty and devotion to their own nations. This sentiment often came at the expense of others, breeding suspicion and rivalry among the great powers.
In the years leading up to the war, Europe had become a network of alliances. These alliances were not just simple agreements, but complex treaties that bound countries together in mutual defense pacts. These agreements were meant to deter aggression. The idea was that if countries knew they would face a coalition of enemies, they would be less likely to start a conflict. However, they inadvertently created a climate of fear and mistrust. Nations began to view each other with suspicion, always wary of the alliances that could be activated at any moment. The Triple Alliance, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, stood in opposition to the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and Great Britain. These two powerful blocs were like powder kegs waiting for a spark. These alliances meant that a conflict between any two countries could quickly escalate. A localized dispute had the potential to draw in multiple nations, each bound by their treaties to support their allies. If one nation honored its commitment to another, it could drag the rest into a wider war. This domino effect was a dangerous consequence of the tangled web of alliances. This complex web of alliances intended to prevent war ironically made it almost inevitable. The very agreements designed to maintain peace created a fragile balance where any disturbance could lead to a catastrophic chain reaction. The leaders of Europe, in their quest for security, had unknowingly set the stage for a conflict that would engulf the entire continent and beyond.
The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo, Bosnia, by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist, proved to be the catalyst for the war. Austria-Hungary, outraged by the assassination, blamed Serbia and issued an ultimatum containing a series of harsh demands. This event shocked the world. It set in motion a chain of events that would have devastating consequences. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, with the backing of Germany, saw an opportunity to assert its dominance over Serbia.
Section 5, the ultimatum and its consequences. Austria-Hungary's ultimatum to Serbia was designed to be unacceptable. It demanded Serbia's cooperation in suppressing anti-Austrian sentiment and allowing Austro-Hungarian officials to participate in the investigation of the assassination. Serbia, backed by Russia, agreed to most of the demands, but refused to comply fully, fearing a loss of sovereignty. This partial acceptance was not enough for Austria-Hungary, which declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. The system of alliances, meant to prevent war, now acted as a deadly chain reaction. Section 6. The dominoes begin to fall. Russia, honoring its alliance with Serbia, began mobilizing its army in preparation for war against Austria-Hungary. This move was not just a simple act of solidarity, it was a signal to the world that Russia was ready to defend its Slavic ally at all costs. The mobilization was a massive undertaking, involving the coordination of millions of troops and vast amounts of resources. This mobilization triggered Germany's war plans. Germany, having anticipated such a move, had meticulously prepared for this moment. The German High Command had long feared the possibility of a two-front war and had developed detailed strategies to counteract this threat. Germany, fearing a two-front war against Russia in the east and France in the west, declared war on Russia on August 1st, 1914, and on France 2 days later. The declarations of war were swift and decisive, reflecting Germany's urgency to act before its enemies could fully mobilize. The German leadership believed that a rapid and aggressive approach was their best chance of success. The German strategy, known as the Schlieffen Plan, involved a swift knockout blow against France through neutral Belgium before turning its attention to Russia. The plan was ambitious and required precise execution. The idea was to quickly defeat France, forcing it to surrender, and then redirect the full might of the German military toward the slower mobilizing Russian forces. This plan, heavily reliant on speed and timing, would prove to be a critical miscalculation. The invasion of Belgium brought Britain into the war, further complicating Germany's situation. The resistance faced in Belgium and the unexpected involvement of Britain disrupted the German timetable, leading to a prolonged and grueling conflict that would engulf Europe in unprecedented devastation.
Section 7. The Great Powers choose sides. Great Britain, obligated to defend Belgium's neutrality under the Treaty of London, declared war on Germany on August 4, 1914, after German troops crossed into Belgium. The Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary, in November 1914. Italy, initially part of the Triple Alliance, declared its neutrality. It eventually joined the war on the side of the Allied powers, Great Britain, France and Russia, in 1915. The world watched in disbelief as the great powers of Europe plunged themselves into a war that many believed would be over by Christmas.
Section 8. A continent at war. With the declarations of war, Europe was engulfed in a conflict that would last for more than 4 years. The early stages of the war were characterized by mobile warfare on the Western Front, with Germany making significant advances into France. However, the war soon bogged down into a brutal stalemate characterized by trench warfare. Millions of soldiers found themselves trapped in a nightmarish world of trenches, mud, and relentless artillery bombardments. New technologies of war, such as machine guns, poison gas, and tanks, resulted in unprecedented levels of casualties.
Section 9. A legacy of loss and change. World War I ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the Armistice of Compiègne. The war resulted in an estimated 40 million casualties, including both military personnel and civilians. It utterly reshaped the political landscape of Europe. The war also had profound social, economic and cultural consequences. It led to the collapse of empires, the rise of new ideologies, and a deep sense of disillusionment. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but sowed the seeds for future conflicts. Section 10. Remembering the Great War. World War I stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked nationalism, militarism, and the failure of diplomacy. The war, which lasted from 1914 to 1918, involved many of the world's great powers and resulted in unprecedented destruction and loss of life. Millions of soldiers and civilians perished, and the political landscape of Europe was forever altered. It is a conflict that should never be forgotten. The memories of those who fought and those who suffered must be preserved for future generations. Their stories, their bravery, and their sacrifices are a testament to the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. As we commemorate the centenary of this tragic event, we are reminded of the importance of reflection and remembrance. The centenary serves not only as a time to honor those who lived through the war, but also as an opportunity to educate and inform the younger generations about the horrors of war and the value of peace. It is our duty to remember the sacrifices made and to strive for peace and understanding in our own time. The lessons learned from World War I are as relevant today as they were a century ago. By fostering a culture of empathy and cooperation, we can work towards a world where such a conflict never happens again. By understanding the historical context, we gain insight into the complex causes and far-reaching consequences of the war. The intricate political, social and economic factors that led to the outbreak of hostilities are crucial to understanding how such a devastating conflict could occur. The intricate web of alliances that existed at the time played a significant role in the escalation of the conflict. Nations were bound by treaties and agreements that, once triggered, led to a domino effect, drawing more and more countries into the fray. The events that led to the outbreak of World War I were numerous and complex. From the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand to the mobilization of armies, each event contributed to the mounting tensions that eventually erupted into full-scale war. We can hope to learn from the mistakes of the past and work towards a more peaceful future. By studying history, we are better equipped to recognize the signs of impending conflict and to take proactive steps to prevent it. Let us honor the memory of those who lived through the Great War by committing ourselves to a future of peace and understanding.